You just want a protein powder, and this is what you see when you walk in the store. What do? There's so much. Dynamic whey, WPI, Shred Max Pro, bulk protein, shred and burn, high protein, fucking performance isolate, performance whey, amino charge, W extreme mass, ripped, lean muscle, return mass. Hello awesome people, thanks for clicking. I'm the Pink Veggie. If you're into health, fitness, and looking your best, please subscribe for weekly videos. If you've watched the last couple of videos I've done, you'll know that we've just moved town and the normal protein that I've been using for a while isn't available here, or I haven't seen it anywhere. I used to get this at the local chemist, but it occurred to me while I was walking down the aisle of the local chemist warehouse where I was looking at protein powders, that it's probably a very intimidating scene if you don't know what you're looking for and if you're not familiar with that sort of thing. So saying that, I thought I might arm you with a little bit of knowledge on the basics of protein powders and what to look for and the different types. So little disclaimer is I am only talking about whey protein. I'm not talking about any vegan proteins. If I was going to have a vegan protein, I'd probably do a pea-based. They seem to have the best macros that I've seen, and there is a lot of pea-based ones around at the moment, but I'm not talking about them today. I'm just talking about whey. So I realised in editing I forgot the most important part before we start. When you're comparing protein powders, you always look at the per 100, not per serve. Per servings are just an arbitrary measurement. Always look at per 100. So when you're looking at whey proteins, there are a few different types, but the two main ones that you see 99% of the time are concentrate and isolate. The concentrate is a little bit less processed. It'll have a little bit less protein and a little bit more fat and carbs. And also because it is less processed, it's usually a little bit cheaper as well. So your whey isolates are more processed. They usually have more protein, less carbs, and less fat, but they are usually more expensive as well. Sometimes my stomach doesn't like a lot of dairy, so I was on vegan protein powders for a fair while, but since switching to isolates, my stomach really doesn't mind them. They're basically lactose free, and a lot of people that have trouble with dairy actually can tolerate whey isolates better than other ones. One downside to using an isolate though is because it does have less fat and less carbs, you usually find that the lower you go on fat and carbs, the more taste you give up. So if you do drink your protein powders with water and not milk, and you do like a good taste, your concentrates are probably a bit better. 95% of the time I use my protein powder in a smoothie, so I mix it up with fruits and yogurts, and having that lack of taste isn't an issue because it's made up with the other ingredients. So when you're having a look, the ones that say 100% whey, if you spin it around, if they don't say WPI or isolate, they'll usually 90% of the time be a blend. So they'll usually blend up some concentrate and some isolate, but most of it will be concentrate. And if you are looking for an isolate, it'll usually come under the name of isolate, obviously, or WPI, whey protein isolate. So if you're looking for isolate, look for 100% WPI or 100% isolate. Anything else, if it doesn't say that, anything else, it's probably going to be a blend, and it's probably going to be mostly concentrate. So here is one. We've got the INC or Inc brand. The whey is 74.8, 8.6 and 8.1, and it's $41.99. And then the isolate is 77.5, 3 and 4.5, and it's $59.9, $59.99. So you can see the isolates do have higher protein, lower fat, lower carbs, but they are a bit more expensive as well. And another brand we've got is the Vital brand. The whey is 82, 2.9 and 3.2, and it's $42.34 for the tub. The WPI is 92, 1.1 and 1, and it's $55.29 for the tub. So it's really what's important to you. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of taste for the isolate with lower fat, lower carbs? If you're drinking it with water, I'd probably recommend to not. I'd probably go for a blend because that's nasty stuff. But if you do put it in a smoothie or the taste doesn't worry you and you're willing to sacrifice a bit of that, then go for an isolate. So your whey and your isolate are the two basics that are covered. And then you've got everything else thrown in just to confuse you even more. So you've got the ones along the lines of when they say things like shred, burn, ripped. So what are they? They'll usually be just your basic protein powder. They'll usually be a blend with mostly concentrate and maybe a bit of isolate, but they have some thermogenics put in. So thermogenics are basically, they're supposedly fat burners. Do they work? I don't know. Are they a good marketing gimmick? Yes, they are. So the Shred Max, we've got L-carnitine and green tea added. The Shred and Burn, we've got green tea. And the Ripped just says thermogenic. So I didn't get a picture of the back of what the thermogenic is. But it's probably L-carnitine and green tea as well. So then as well, you've got the ones that are along the lines of like extreme mass, that sort of thing. So on a side note, people think that you need protein to build muscle, but what's actually more important when you're trying to build muscle is carbs. So you can see on the macro calculator here, I've put my stats at exactly the same activity level, same weight and everything. On one I've put I want to lose fat, and on one I've put that I want to gain muscle. And basically the protein and the fat are basically the same, and most of the extra calories are coming from carbs. So if you're trying to gain muscle, like put on muscle, if you're what they call a hard gainer and you really want to bulk up, you need more carbs. So the external mass one here, we've got 42.3 protein and 44.1 carbs. So you can see it's got a lot less protein but a lot more carbs. The same for the extreme mass, that's 42.5 and 42.5. So your other proteins are usually around a 60 to 90 per 100 with the protein, and these ones are down around the 40s per 100 for protein. This one I couldn't actually tell by looking at the front. It just says lean muscle, so I turned it around and it's the same as the ones I was just talking about. So it's got 36.6 protein and 53.4 carbs. So it's a muscle building one. So the name lean muscle here is a bit of a marketing gimmick really. There's no such thing as fat muscle and lean muscle. Muscle is lean. They're two different types of tissue. There's no such thing as lean muscle because it's all lean. So it's just a marketing gimmick when it says lean muscle. So then we get up to the other end of the aisle where all the like girly looking ones are and all the meal replacement ones. And I've really got a thing about the packaging and the marketing on these. It's really quite, how would you say? It's really quite demeaning. Can't say that. So first up, I picked up the Slender packet. I didn't know anything about this brand or what it was, but I had a look at the macros and it's 56 protein, 5.7 carbs, and 24 carbs. So to me that is a very bad protein powder. So it did actually say on it that it's meant as a meal replacement. If it's meant as a meal replacement, I can see why it's got more carbs, because it's not a protein powder. It is meant to replace a full meal. But that is written in a very, very small print in one bit up the top of the back in very small writing. So if you are just looking for a protein powder and you're not quite sure about the different types or anything, this packaging is very attractive and it might suck you in, but if you go in armed with a bit of knowledge, you can see these macros aren't really great for a protein powder, unless you do want it for a meal replacement. So just opposite this Slender one, we had the Bondi brand, which is very nice packaging. It's very girly, feminine looking, very modern and streamlined. And the name Bondi, it has a lot of connotations that are attached to that, I guess. So the Slimmer from the Bondi brand is 57.8 protein, 4.4 fat, 20.5 carbs. So this is not a meal replacement one. This is a protein powder. It's very pretty packaged, girly protein powder. And I just find that really demeaning, like that they don't make a serious product that's aimed at girls. Like they make a half-assed product and aim it at girls and put it in a pretty package and think that we'll buy it. It just makes me really mad, actually. And then I was looking at the Bondi Keto one. So I'm not keto, I never want to try keto. So that's basically 55 protein, 17.5 fat and 9.9 carbs. So keto is all about high fat, low carbs. Because keto is all about high fat, low carbs, it is high fat, but 9.9 isn't that low in carbs. So even if you were trying to be keto, this isn't a great product for it, in my opinion, without knowing much about how keto people eat. Just my basic knowledge, it doesn't seem like a great product for keto people. So again, a half-assed product packaged in pretty stuff so that girls will buy it, which is just really demeaning. It seems kind of patronising, to be honest. So, I hope you've gotten a little bit of knowledge from this video. And which one did I buy? I bought this one, WPI, 100% WPI protein isolate. Drinking it with water, it's probably going to taste like sadness. But in my protein smoothies in the morning, it's going to be fantastic. I've already had it in a smoothie. The flavour is great. So I'm really happy with this one. I hope you found this useful. I hope you learnt something. I hope you learned to turn around all the jars and read them. Don't get sucked in by the pretty packaging. Go through the nutrition label, go through the ingredients. Make a decision based on information, not pretty packaging. Do remember, if you liked it, give it a like. Leave a comment, it helps the algorithm, it really, really does. And I'll see you next week. What do you want? What?
Can you turn the lights on?
Later, when I finish this. They'll go funny in my video if I do it. It's on now, so I'll do it after I finish the video. But for me to do that, you need to leave me alone.